Welcome to Speakeasy Spirits. Not too long ago, I had a video called Tiki-fy This, making a tiki old-fashioned. At the end of that video, I asked you guys to leave a comment and tell me what classic cocktail you would like to see me try to tiki-fy. It turns out you all hate me because the number one choice was a martini. If you Google Tiki Martini, you're going to get a lot of results using pineapple juice, lime juice, half a dozen ingredients. To me, that's just not a martini. I could make this easy on me and include things like apple teenies and espresso martinis, but I'm going to stay true to the original true martini formula of a clear spirit, vermouth, and a garnish. So how am I going to make a tiki martini? To me, the key is going to be the vermouth. We need a tropical vermouth. And it doesn't seem like such a thing exists, so we're going to have to make our own homemade vermouth. The base of any vermouth is wine, so we're going to start out with a tropical flavored wine. If you go to your local wine store, they're going to have a section of fruit wines, and you should be able to find something that's a mango wine, pineapple, passion fruit, or some sort of blend. In my case, I'm going to be using a homemade fruit wine. This is my Philippine fruit wine that I made for a friend's wedding, and it contains mango, pineapple, papaya, guava, and a whole bunch of other tropical fruits. Now, I think the exact definition of a vermouth is that it has to be grape-based and contain wormwood, so we might have to call this an aromatized wine, but it's going to be close enough to get us there in our martini. So to start making a homemade vermouth, we're going to need a large container that we can seal. We'll add our wine there. Now the next step is going to be adding some herbs and spices. I've got my own blend here. Everything in here came from the grocery store. None of these are hard to find ingredients. I'll leave a full recipe in the description below, but this contains orange peel, lemon peel, vanilla bean, sage, tarragon, cardamom, and a bunch of other spices. Now to make everything simple, we're going to add all the ingredients to a cheesecloth bag that we can tie closed. You could also use a tea ball or anything else that can contain all of these spices. Now we'll tie that closed. Drop it in. And now we'll wait 24 hours. You don't have to make this a tropical fruit vermouth. If you wanted to use a Pinot Grigio or an Italian or Spanish white wine, you could have a traditional Blanc vermouth out of this. It's now been 48 hours. I checked my vermouth at the 24-hour mark, and I wanted the flavors to be a little more intense, so I gave it another day. So next we need to bottle our vermouth. We'll start by removing all of our botanicals. And now, just to make sure we keep it clear, we're going to pour this through a fine mesh strainer into our bottle. Let's give it a taste. Now we're aiming for something along the lines of a Blanc vermouth, not all the way to a sweet vermouth, but also not completely dry. And I'd say the natural sugars of the fruit wine were right where we want to be. If this was a little too dry, we could add some more sugar here, but I think this is just right for what we want to make. There's plenty of herbs and spices on the nose. The taste is distinctly pineapple and passion fruit from the wine, but there's some nice herbalness to it. There's a little bit of bitterness from the orange and lemon peel. The tarragon and sage are adding a nice savory note. There are a couple of white peppercorns in here, and you can get that peppercorn note on the back. It's definitely not a traditional vermouth, but as an aromatized wine, this is really good. Now let's make our tiki martini. Most people think there's only two ingredients to a good martini, your spirit and the vermouth. But I think there is an important third ingredient, and that is cold. A good martini should be ice cold. So we're going to start by chilling our glass. If you don't have a glass in your freezer, go ahead and just add some ice cubes to the glass and let it sit while you shake the drink. The current fad in ordering martinis is extra dry, which is just a dash of vermouth in your martini. Some people even go so far as to say no vermouth, which to me is just a glass of gin or vodka. Not really what I want to do a shot of. But if you're ever at an industry night in a bar, What you'll see other bartenders ordering is a 50-50 martini, where it's half vermouth and half spirit. That's how we're going to make ours today. Let's start with our vermouth. We're going to need 1.5 ounces. In my opinion, the base of our martini has to be a clear spirit. That's normally vodka or gin, but since we're going tiki with this, we're going to use white rum. Now you want to get a good white rum, something that's aged but still clear. In this case, we're going to use this Denizen. This is a 5-year aged rum that's then been charcoal filtered to remove the color. There's other good white rums. Plantation 3 Star is a great example. Real McCoy 3-year is perfect. Any of those would make a great martini. We're going to do this equal parts, so another 1.5 ounces of our white rum. Since cold is so important to our martini, we're going to use 6 ice cubes in here, and we're going to give it a good shake, maybe about 20 seconds. Now let's take our chilled glass, we'll ditch the ice, and strain. Now if you've done this right, this should be right around freezing temperature. There you have the Tiki Teeny. Oh, that is good. It is ice cold. The fruity notes of this Denizen 5-year rum come through loud and clear, and those fruit flavors are just enhanced with passion fruit and pineapple of our tropical vermouth. It's not too dry, it's not too sweet, it's got all the herbs and aromatics that you'd expect in a good gin martini, a nice citrus note from that orange and lemon peel. There's a little bit of an anise note coming from the Star Anise and the tarragon. The sage and white pepper are adding a nice earthiness to it. This may be really the entry point for somebody who's a martini lover who's looking to start getting into some tiki drinks. Now, typically a twist of lemon might be called for here, but I think in this case we might put a couple of drops of Angostura bitters floating on top. That should enhance those spice notes that are so familiar in tiki. Now you can just smell the spices. That's really good with or without the bitters. And you can see we shook it long enough that there's actually some ice crystals at the top. It took a little bit of work and we had to make one of the ingredients ourselves, but I think we came up with something that stays true to what a martini is and still add those tiki flavors. So I'm going to put it to you guys. What classic cocktail should I try and turn into a tiki drink next? Leave a comment below, and as always, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time.